What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. Today we got a really special uh episode. I wouldn't even say episode. This ain't like a podcast or anything, but a great conversation. Why am I hearing myself though?
Hold on. Let me put headphones on. Maybe that's a
Oh,
problem.
okay, I think it might be on your end. Okay.
I don't hear you twice.
But yeah, so we got one of the most prolific creators in the world, pretty much.
Did you say
Yeah,
the
it's
world?
in the world. You one of the most prolific creators in the world. You got like
Oh my
40
goodness.
albums out, right?
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
don't know anybody that's done that.
E40 maybe?
You right up there with E40 though. Come on. So
Uh,
yeah, it for some odd reason it's still playing twice over here, but I'm gonna thug through it.
it always happens when I come onto anything. Electricity just starts being weird because I'm just too
Hey,
powerful.
we gonna
Uh,
make it work.
yeah, like even when I plug my headphones in, it's not working. Guys, we have people in space. We can't figure this shit out.
you know.
It's all good. Thug
Hold
through it.
on.
Thug through it.
Let me figure this out.
Can we see comments on our side? Oh, we can. What's up,
Mhm.
9DM? Tommy Will in the building, elusive. Love to see it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to figure out the technical difficulty. Um, let's see. Settings on my side, audio. Yo, Jay, say something.
Check, check, check.
Is that helpful or no? Can you still
It's still
hear?
playing twice. This is the weirdest thing.
Oh, well, now you're in my headphones, so it's not me then.
So let me see if I switch these headphones.
All good. What's up, Dwayne? Oh, I can join the chat? Ooh. Oh, damn, I got to connect to my YouTube? Hold on. I don't even know my password. How y'all doing today? Give us a few. Mm. And today's sponsor is Pellegrino Essentia. Glad to hear you're good, Dwayne. How we feeling now, Jay? You hear yourself multiple times?
I hear myself, but it's weird because I can hear I hear what you said, and then it's playing back to me like 5 seconds later. It's the craziest thing. I've never experienced this before.
It's the power.
But what I'm gonna do is act like it's not playing in my ear,
Okay,
and just go with it.
let's try it.
So I'm sorry, y'all, but act like none of this happened. So as I was saying, we have one of the most prolific writers in the world. She didn't want to be receptive to that, but that is absolutely the truth. She put E40 out there, and we know how much work E40 has. But yeah. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you come on my channel and talk about surviving and thriving in music is a lot of us are surviving, but not necessarily thriving in music, and it's one of the hardest things to really reach. Um, and I feel like you've kind of found a lane to thrive in, you know what I'm saying? And I've been watching you for maybe like 4 years. I'm sure others have been watching you for much longer, and you're definitely an inspiration to me. So anybody that's been watching me, it's like, "This the big dog."
Oh my
You know
god.
what I mean? So, so that's why I wanted to do this with you and just kinda get your perspective on where the music industry is currently, um, what you're doing to, like, maintain and build, and also where you see things going from here, because there's a lot that's changing right now. So,
Yeah,
very loaded,
absolutely. I
But
know, like there's three topics there.
I just wanted to get a proper intro going for you.
Yeah, I
Um,
appreciate it. Well, like you said, definitely loaded, and I know you're hearing this 10 times back right now, so sorry on your end, but hopefully everyone else can hear me okay. When it comes to the future of music, I mean, no one really knows. We can all speculate whatever we want, right? Based on trends and history and all that. But the way that I look at it is I get to create whatever I want the future to look like. And I'm doing that at Hard Drive. Now, when it comes to thriving and not just surviving, I've had my fair share of being broke as hell. Had my, mom paying for my apartment until I was 23 and helping me with bills and all the things with platinum plaques on my wall, just unable to afford my life. I'm also bougie, so that didn't help. Like I was not trying to budget nothing. Like, sorry.
mhm.
All that being said, a big mental shift that I had to experience was understanding that music is not the most important part. It's the brand, the business, the message around the music. And I think that, not even I think that, I know that as artists, we're not taught that. We're not taught to worry about the business, your brand, your messaging. We're just taught to, hey, you're a creator, focus on the music. And then
Right.
that's how the whole music industry was built, around people that were unaware that they should focus on the business, and they made a music business around that, right? Unfortunately. And so, up until now, I feel like mostly we've had like the wool over our eyes, but thankfully, I mean, we're in the age of information now, so shit, you can look up anything you want. It's just really up to you to be the one to do the research. There's still not people that are pushing you to know the info. But
Right.
all that being said, there's a lot more people now pushing you to get the info, like you, for instance, sharing,
Absolutely.
your experiences and your knowledge with your platform. And we're seeing a lot more of those people. So I'm very grateful that we're in a stage of that right now where information is so accessible and open. But long story short, when it comes to the thriving aspect, you just got
Yes.
to know, unless you have a trust fund or something like that, you ain't gonna thrive for a really motherfucking long time.
Right. Right.
You're not. And if you're in music to thrive, quit now, because it's just not the experience for anyone. Like, show me
Yeah.
someone that thrived right away. It takes years and years and years to get good at music, first of all, to make
Yep.
the connections, to figure out, wait, I need more than just this product. I need to actually like know what the fuck I'm doing with the product. So that's the first step, man, is sitting down and writing down physically with a pen and paper, what do I represent outside just my music? Literally, what do I represent? What is my message to the world? And then come up with creative ways to share that with your audience, That's really
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you said a lot in just a
I
short amount of
know.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, this is great because when I'm online, and I'm online a lot with the Instagram, TikTok, and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and there's so many artists putting out music, including myself. We're all trying to find this quote unquote like secret sauce, right?
Yeah, right.
Um, but for you, what would you say is like one of your biggest keys in maintaining longevity in the music business? Because you came in at a very young age. You were basically a child prodigy coming in, just
Yeah.
making these hit records.
Yeah.
But what has kept you here all this time? Because I'm sure you've seen a lot. I'm sure there's been moments that you wanted to give up or that you may not have wanted to continue making music.
Yeah.
So what have been your keys to like staying interested throughout the entire journey and actually being able to uphold yourself at a certain level to where you're still comfortable in life?
No, I did stop though. I've had many times where I actually stopped. I've had mental breakdowns. I think the longest I went without doing music was, I want to say 9 months, maybe a year, maybe a year. And by not doing music, I mean like not even sitting down by a microphone, like not even
Mm,
listening to music. And that was my first major depression when I was 19. And I remember, and I'm bipolar. I'm very open about that. I got diagnosed when I was 21, but I had this major depression when I was 19. right after I left the Darkchild camp. And there was a lot of other things going on in my life. I was dating a dude that was 10 years older than me. And like, I just, you know, whole shit there going on. All that being said, I went into this really deep, dark depression. And I remember listening to songs that I did and feeling like those songs weren't even me. Like I was like in a state of disbelief that I had led this like awesome, incredible songwriter life for the past 2 years in LA. And I just felt completely disconnected and I didn't believe in myself all of a sudden, right? So I think a lot of us creatives experience those depressive episodes. And I just want to normalize that for people and also normalize that it's okay to go home. You know, if you move to LA, it's okay to go home. It's okay to take breaks. It's okay to pivot. I've pivoted a million times in my career. I mean, Hard Drive was a major pivot for me 4 years ago from my songwriter and artist life. And you can be as many things as you want to be. I'm still an artist. I'm still a songwriter. I'm also now CEO of a music company. Like you can be everything. So I just wanted to start off by saying I have taken breaks and, you know, it might seem like I haven't just because I'm so active on socials, but there were definitely times over the years that I've stopped for months on end. So normalizing that is important. But to answer your question for real, like the one key that brings me back, keeps me going, is that it's in my DNA. Like at this point, creating, whether I share it with the world or not, is so ingrained in my DNA. It's my therapy, and it's definitely become, you know, therapy for, you know, fans that I've gained over the years too. So just knowing that me sharing my story affects even one person actually is what's kept me going. It's not the play count. It's not the checks, because the checks on streaming and publishing ain't gonna pay my rent for even 1 month. Okay. So we all know that it's a genuine desire to connect with people. And unfortunately, I think a lot of artists, not a lot, some lack that desire to actually connect with folks, and they're coming at it from an angle of, oh, like I just want to make money in this, and that is, you just realize right away that's not what it is.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's so many people that either they want the money or they want the fame, and both of them are like fleeting. Like you're reaching that literal like stars. Like you see them, but you can't actually grab them, right? But for somebody like yourself who you've made hit records with through collaboration, you've had big records on your own, you've had even viral songs. Like how for people on the outside looking in, that's something that we're constantly chasing is how do I get the viral thing? How do I get this going? And one of the big questions that always comes up when it comes to things going viral is what do you do after that? Like how do you maintain that? How do you actually build something or sustain a career after going viral? Because like you're chasing something, but now that you caught it, like what's next? So for you, when that happened for you in 2016, what was your experience like when Kylie Jenner comes along and puts your song and says she loves it so much, and now you got all these different celebrities and all of this stuff? How was that for you?
Great question. Someone randomly called me one night. I was at my house with my manager, and they're like, "Oh my God, look at Kylie Jenner's Snapchat." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I go and I look, and she's like singing the song with some weird filters on her face. And then, you know, she kept posting it on our Snapchat over the following weeks, like driving in the car, listening to it. And then she put it on her app. I didn't even know she had an app. How she even heard the song was I had a session with Justine Skye, like a real life, you know, label setup session with Justine Skye. And I guess they were best friends at the time. And Justine told Kylie about the song, and that's originally how she heard it, which is dope. I think Kylie is like, she should be an A&R. Like she's put so many people on. Unfortunately for me, during this time, I was going through the beginning stages of a manic episode, which is, you know, a major issue with bipolar disorder. I was at the very beginning stages. And so what that looks like for people that don't understand bipolar disorder is I was not really in control of my emotions and my thoughts fully. Like I was having a lot of racing thoughts. I was not sleeping. I was self-medicating with weed and alcohol and all these things. all that to say, I really mismanaged the opportunity, because what I should have done, looking back at this, is gone really hard promoting that fucking song. Naturally, just her posting about it, it's still one of my biggest songs today because of that. But I didn't do any sort of additional press for it. I didn't, I didn't record a music video until maybe 2 years later.
Okay.
So I know what it's like to mismanage opportunities, but I also, consulting thousands of artists now over the past 5 years, I've seen people have their viral moments and take advantage of it the right way. And the right way, one way at least, is to go super fucking hard, continuing to promote that thing.
Right.
Just like those girls that are running through these offices right now.
Yes.
What is that fucking song? That's what you do. You push the song even more, and then you make sure to have a follow-up, so you're not the one hit wonder. Do another follow-up 2-3 months later. And during this process, make sure that you're connecting with people and generating those leads and getting their information, so you can continue to push the new shit that you're putting out. That's one opportunity I see people miss all the time, is building their mailing list during those moments, because they're so caught up in the hype, right?
Right.
So yeah, I know what it's like to mismanage it, but those are the things I've seen that do work for other people, is push the fuck out of it more and make sure that you're collecting the direct to consumer information for more stuff that you put out after that.
Absolutely. And shout out to Fly Anna Boss, being that you brought them up.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying seeing them running around everywhere.
I love that.
Absolutely. Okay, we got some
Yep.
people in the comments quoting them too and everything.
Yeah, exactly. See, like, come on, that was such a brilliant move. Like, what the fuck? Now they have people like, come to our office, thinking of creative ways to continue to push that shit, not just with a music video and not just with you talking about it. Like, you're creative. Like, we don't just create music. Think of
Right.
something that's going to get people sharing it. That's the thing. And it takes only, 5-10 minutes of sitting down, like, with a paper and
Right.
it doesn't take long to come up with the ideas.
Absolutely. I mean, who would have thought, just running on camera, and I guess the cameraman is running too, but like, who knew that was going to catch people's attention the way it did? But
Just
I think
throw shit against the wall, see what
that's
sticks.
exactly what it is. And I've noticed that it seems like younger artists kind of catch that. I'm in my 30s, so people that I meet that are in my network or peer group, when I talk to them about utilizing social media, a lot of them try to act like they don't like to use it, or they don't want to do it, and oh, I'm not a video director, I'm not, all of this different type of stuff. They come up with these excuses.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, so what are you gonna do? Like,
yeah,
we all have a list of things that we may not necessarily enjoy doing, like, with all of our time. We may not all want to know how to learn how to use the camera settings in our phone, but is that going to be the barrier that holds you back? Are you willing to, like, say that out loud? I'm not. So I'm gonna figure it out.
That's why you're different. Unfortunately, people let those roadblocks be like, just stay roadblocks the entire time. So I'm exhausted from trying to help people get over their own fears.
For sure. I can
Really
relate.
exhausted. Yeah.
But with all that being said, I mean, that does kind of show you how the industry has changed, because now people are going viral from creating their own content, doing stuff in their backyard, doing stuff around their neighborhood. So it's like it's become super accessible.
Yeah.
But with that being the case, I feel like it's accessible for people on all different levels, right? So when I was coming up, I feel like my perspective of the music industry was like this very Scrooge McDuck type of thing. Like, oh, the corporate entities, they're so selfish, they don't care about nobody, which I think is true still.
I agree.
But on the second side of it, I see now we have a lot of people that are coming in from complete total other walks of life, coming from tech community, coming from never playing music in their life, but they're getting all of these investments in these new companies, and they're like talking about democratizing the music industry and all of this type of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now these people are kind of getting a stronghold, because independent artists are always looking left and right on where should I go next? Do I need to get with this distribution company? Do I need this marketing platform that they keep putting in front of my face? And then you try it out, and it's like, this is just like the last 10 that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, when you see stuff like that going on, and you've been around for a long time, how do you feel about the I don't want to call it corporate structure, but I guess that's what you got to call it. How do you feel about the corporate side of the music industry as it stands today?
Great question. I try my very hardest to avoid thinking about it, only because it's funny. I was just talking to a friend about this. Maybe 5, 6 years ago, when I was just on my artist journey, I used to compare myself to other artists that were ahead of me when I had so much more experience, or I thought my music was so much better, or all
Yep.
of this. And I compare it to today, where I don't compare myself as an artist to anyone anymore, because like I'm so confident in who I am, and I realize everyone's on a different timeline. But I've noticed that I do this with companies now. I'm like, bro, like, well, they just popped up out of nowhere and they have 20,000 users, they have 50,000 users, they have 100,000 users. They don't do shit that we do. We do 1,000. I get in that kind of vibe.
Yep.
And what irks me the most, and this is my own bias, because I, of course, I'm going to think that what we're doing is the best and that we have the best intentions. I don't know, a lot of these other CEOs, but the issue, the thing that irks me the most is because I have that traditional music business background. I really just am so jaded in knowing that if there's a label executive running one of these, new distributor type companies, that I know their heart's not in the right place. It's really just to provide minimal value for a shift in the market. And the only reason folks care right now is because the independent sector of the music industry is growing way faster than the actual industry itself. Like the
Right.
independent sector, we're at damn near 50% now of the market. Just 4 years ago, back in the pandemic, it was 3%. That's crazy. The growth is absolutely insane. So of course these companies are opening because there's this new blue ocean of opportunity to take advantage of artists that aren't willing to either read terms or actually know the most important part isn't distributing the music. It's distributing you. It's like
Right.
telling your fans who you are. Fuck even dropping a single. Tell people who you are. Make them fall in love with you. That's what gets me so riled up. And so I've decided stop thinking about these other companies and looking at what they're doing, because it actually really doesn't matter. It's the long game. It's an infinite game. Your competitor today is not your competitor tomorrow. We're all on
Absolutely.
separate timelines. So anyway, it's a lot of companies with, I say they have old industry bones. They're just putting on, new paint over old industry bones, right?
Yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
is what it
And
is.
if there's anybody watching today that's not already a member of Hard Drive, um, look at the.
Anyone watching on Jay
Oh, go.
Nolan's channel is getting their first month free. And current members watching this, don't hit us for a month free.
Oh, okay.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
even know that was coming
There
today.
you go.
So y'all getting free membership today just for tuning
Yeah.
in. So go
There you
ahead
go.
and hit up harddrive.com,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And
Mm-hmm.
I got a code in the description of this video that y'all can
Yeah.
use as well.
Anyone
So
coming from you, just tell us and we'll make sure that you get a month free.
absolutely. So with that being said, you've mentioned hard drive already, but for those that don't already know what it is, can you describe what hard drive is as a company, and not just as a company, but where did the idea stem from, and why do
Yeah.
you feel like it was so important to come with hard drive when you did?
Totally. The idea sprouted. I was on a long drive from San Francisco to Los Angeles. No, the other way. LA to San Francisco for a wedding. I
Okay.
was just on the middle of the five, and I had been banging my head against a wall for 6 months trying to think of a business that was going to help people in my industry. Literally, I had no idea what I was going to do. And all of a sudden, I'm just on the five driving, and out of nowhere, I'm like, oh my God, you have people in your DMs every day asking you where you get your cover artwork, your mixing and mastering, your beats, all these things that I just had access to via my friends. And then I was like, on the other side, you have all these friends that are graphic designers, producers, engineers. And so I was like, fuck, make a website, make it subscription based so that they can actually access it and you actually can build the company because you ain't got money to build the company. So that's how it sprouted. It came from like wanting to build a two-sided marketplace. And then what was amazing, which I was not expecting at all, was the community element that came out of fucking nowhere of artists getting on the platform, connecting with one another, being egoless, wanting to collaborate. It's something that I had never seen so genuinely happen in my 10, 15 years at that time of being in the music business, which is very sharky and no one wants to collaborate with, new people. And it was the exact opposite of my experience. And so we really went from saying, oh, we're the world's first subscription-based record label, because fuck that. We're the world's first community-based record label. And now our main focus is education. We've done over 2,500 Zoom calls, panels, collaboration sessions over the past 4 years. I can't compare that to any other platform that's gone that far. Right. Camps, our own award ceremony. It's really based in people and treating people like people and not like products. People are not a number to us. Well, at least not now. We got 5,000 users. Shit, I don't know if we have 100,000, a million or more, y'all might become numbers.
Right.
But right now we know people and we really want to get to know people. So yeah, it's a community-based record label. The business model, again, it is subscription-based, and that's not because we're greedy. By the way, like, we've been non-profitable. Like, it should be a nonprofit. It's really just to make sure that we can keep building the software and keep giving people the experience they want. So that's how it is right now. Hopefully that answers the question.
No, you answered it entirely the way that it needed to be done. So,
thank you.
So when you say that it hasn't been profitable, how are you able to actually sustain as a company, like, with this model?
That's a great question. Honestly, our expenses are our revenue, and that's okay. I mean, that's just how any business is. I mean, I really believe in this. I believe in the future. And even if we were profitable, which of course we will be one day, I mean, we have investors, and that's the point, is to make a for-profit business. Every dime that I make, I invest right back into the company. It's much bigger than the profit for me. But we're able to exist because, again, we're making enough to sustain, and we'll continue to. We're actually opening a free tier next month so that new people can get in and see what's going on. Okay. Just so that, because that's been our biggest growth hurdle, is that it's paid. You have to pay to get in, and you can't see anything beforehand. So I'm really excited about that, just to help more people see what's available, because I think artists only think that it, like, distributors exist. They're like, DistroKid, TuneCore, like, that's it. Like, nah, bro. There are companies, and not just us. I see other companies popping up that really focus on education and syncs and all that, which is great. Like, the more the merrier. There's more that exists for you, like, where people want to know you. The C-suite wants to know you. The team members want to know you. They want to help with everything from your brand development, your artist development, to the small things like graphic design, mixing, mastering, production. But it's much more than the services. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Great description. So, with that being said, you did mention that y'all have, like, the weekly meetings, and you do the you also offer the sync opportunities. Mm-hmm. So one thing that I do want to talk to you about is, we spoke about it being bigger than the music, but on the musical side, what are some things that you think artists need to focus on, instead of just, putting a song up on TikTok, putting it up on Instagram, posting the artwork one day, and that kind of like being the totality of everything that's going on? And I know it's tough because, like you said, building that email list, like, you have to build relationships with real people in order to get ahead. But just from the artist perspective of somebody that's trying to grow, what areas do you think the modern artist coming up should be looking at?
Well, I will say, if you put a song out and you just put the cover artwork out bravo, you did something. Okay, like
Yep.
I'm not gonna demonize people anymore because I usually do. I'm like, what are you doing? This is not it. But like, congrats on doing, like, putting a song out and putting your artwork out there for people to see. Um, like, I think I've said a couple times now, and I'll just reiterate it, is that the number one thing I think that artists need to do is literally sit the fuck down with a pen and a motherfucking paper, quite literally. I'm not
Yeah.
saying, like, I'm dead ass. Like, sit down and write down what your vision is, and not like on the 5-10 years from now. Shit, even just focus on the next 12 months. And I don't mean just saying I want to put more music out. I need you to be fucking specific. How many
Yep.
songs are you putting out? And not just how many songs are you putting out. What is my message? What am I about? Am I someone that's authentic, or am I somebody that wants to craft a style around my music that isn't necessarily me on my day-to-day life? Like, that is the number one piece that most people do not take the time to do. And that is what makes a world of difference, is knowing with certainty what you want to represent, what you represent. Because if you're vague with it, other people ain't gonna get it either. Like, don't
Right.
leave it up to other people to make you who you are. You need to know who you are. And that takes work. You might not know overnight. You might not know the first time you sit down, but you need to continue returning to sitting down and being like, okay, even these are the 3 keywords that represent me. Like, something I always say about me is, I'm authentic. I'm always going to share, like, my honest opinion, even if it's hard to hear or it's hard for me to say. Like, that's always been something that I've said about myself. I sat down in my dorm at USC when I was 19. I was probably manic and didn't know, but I wrote all the shit down. And that's how I've continued to lead my life, is with authenticity and vulnerability, and especially when it's hard. But that's just me. So yeah, forget about the
Absolutely.
music. Focus on who you are first and what you
For
want to do.
sure.
Yeah.
I concur with that because you're very outspoken. And I think,
Thank you.
like,
Yeah.
for me, I grew up very kind of like, I don't want to say timid, but more reserved. So you've been an influence in inspiring me to, like, speak my mind more too about the industry. And like, and I've noticed sometimes, like, a recent post that I put up on Instagram, I kind of gave people a little bit of tough love. And there were people that were like, "Oh, I like when you speak like this." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." I didn't know. So, so I definitely take cues from you on that.
Thank you. I'm
Um,
glad.
Another thing that I noticed is, like, when I was first learning about songwriting, and like, I knew about songwriting, of course, but actually the mechanics of how stuff works, all the publishing and all of that stuff, split sheets and stuff like that. This was around 2019. I was finding out who you were, and I noticed that you were like big on SoundBetter at the time, and you were like telling people to get signed up on there. I had signed up on there. I was also selling songs to people on Fiverr and on
Mm-hmm.
different places.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's also like another area where people haven't really tapped in as much as it possibly could be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a couple artists that I've known for a couple years, they've talked about how these things have changed their lives. So, number one, how did you get introduced to Sound Better? I
Mm-hmm.
know it's not what it used to be, but and we have service providers on hard drive now, so you don't got to go through that. But at that time, how did you get introduced to it, and what was the mindset going into it of, I'm about to start offering my service as a writer to pretty ordinary people at
Mm-hmm.
a price?
Yeah, great question. I haven't been on SoundBetter in a couple of years as a provider, but it was an absolute godsend to me. I remember the moment I found out about it. I was on a hike with my friends, Marshall Bryant, who's a mixing engineer, he, like, for Keisha Cole, Mary J. Blige, amazing, and my friend Brianna Marin, who's like became the queen of motherfucking beat stars, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we were on a hike and we were talking about our grievances with the music business. We're like, we have all these accolades and we're like broke, all of us. We were just walking on this, we were hiking Fryman in Los Angeles. And Marshall was like, yo, have y'all heard about SoundBetter? I was like, what the fuck is SoundBetter? Because till that point, I'd been on like Craigslist trying to find fucking song gigs, right?
Oh
Literally. And
wow. Okay.
my mom was like, girl, if you don't go to Nordstrom's and get a job, or Nordstrom, not Nordstrom's, Nordstrom or Starbucks or something and get a motherfucking job because I'm not helping you anymore. I was like, damn it. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Anyway, on the hike, Marshall mentioned SoundBetter, and he's like, it's like a marketplace. You just sell your service, like your creative services. I was like, what the fuck? I went home, signed up immediately. The first job I got was that night for $900. The client released the funds on accident right away, and I was like, oh shit, this is what this shit is like. That was my first job, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even make $900 last year on music. Come on, like this is insane. So what I did was I started offering, what was I doing the most? Demo vocals for people. They like send lyric ideas and their little beat. And I did it for really cheap because I was like, oh, I see how this is going to work. I want to get hella reviews so that I just appear at the top of the algorithm. And that's what I did. I was doing really cheap features, cheap demo vocals. And then I would incrementally, make my prices go up. And then it got to a point where it was like my 9 to 5. I was making 12, 13 grand a month on there, over the next 3 years. I think I made about did I make 400,000 on there? I don't know. It was close to 400 grand over the years that I was working on it. But I was miserable. Like, I was miserable, spreading myself so thin, just recording songs I wasn't passionate about. No offense to any clients. I know Dwayne found me on SoundBetter, I think, Dwayne is talent vendor on Hard Drive. And I just was like, there's got to be more than this. What am I going to be, 55 fucking recording demo vocals? Like, mind you, I was grateful because I could finally afford my bougie ass lifestyle.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't the long-term plan for me. So I was like, I need to fucking make money in my sleep. There is a way, God willing, that I'm going to be able to go to sleep and generate some motherfucking money on my skill sets and my knowledge. So then I started researching get rich quick schemes, and not to get rich quick, by the way. I just wanted to see the systems that people were using. And that's when I learned about sales funnels. That's when I learned about click funnels. That's when I learned about affiliate programs and all of these things, just by finding the systems that people were using. And that led me down the path of starting consulting, which I felt like a fraud in the beginning. My first 3 to 5 consults, I was like, I felt fraudulent because I'm like, dude, this is such basic information that I'm sharing. Like, sign up to DistroKid, here, get your artwork with my homie.
Right.
But then what happened was I realized that what I felt was basic after 10 years in the business was not fucking basic to anyone else. So I finally felt confident and like I was providing value to people because I saw how happy they were when the light bulb went off. You could see it in people's eyes. And so from consulting, that's when I spent those 6-7 months banging my head against the wall, figuring out what business I was really going to build. And then Hard Drive sparked out of nowhere. But all that to say, I had to take a really big leap from going from making 10, 12 grand, whatever a month on SoundBetter to stopping. I actually cold turkey stopped because I was like, if I don't stop, I'm never going to change my life. If I keep allowing myself to do these features and vocals, I'm just going to stay stuck. It's kind of like someone that stays stuck in a 9 to 5 job because they're comfortable and don't want to take the leap. So I actually said, fuck this. I know there's a better way. I know that I can work smarter. And I actually went into a ton of fucking credit card debt paying my bills because I did not want to go back to what I was doing. But then it fucking worked out. I thought of a great idea that actually is helping people the way I wanted to. But that's because I sat down many times and connected with what I wanted to, how I wanted to impact the world. And it's from a genuine place. It's not the get rich quick scheme. If it was, I'd be telling y'all about that. But ain't no such thing. It don't last if that's what you're after.
For sure. Nah, you're speaking my life too, vicariously, because
I know.
Because I think I've battled with that kind of imposter thing too a lot. And I don't know if it's imposter syndrome as much as just like, do they really care?
Right.
That also becomes a thing too.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, in the beginning phases, it was like you said, people paying you for information, and it felt weird.
Yep.
Because when I started talking about stuff, like, what's so interesting for me is that, you come from a traditional music industry background. You came in through Rodney Jerkins,
Mhm.
and you kind of made your way out of that system. Whereas somebody like myself, I'm just coming in off the street, I guess, is how people would perceive it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, who is this guy? Where he come from? But I'm like consistent every day. So, um, but I was learning all of this stuff, and I actually went and bought one of your books
Oh.
to be like, all right, because I started writing my own,
Yeah.
and but I was like, before I actually write this stuff, I need to know if I'm really telling the right thing. Let me go compare
I
what I
love that.
think I know to
Mhm.
somebody who already did it for real, for real.
I
And
love
then
that.
once I read, I was like, it's a lot of the same information. Okay, I ain't too far off.
Mhm.
So you've been an inspiration for me on like so many different levels. So
Oh, thank
the
you.
fact that we're even speaking right now, the fact that we've been able to kind of develop a relationship, and I'm Hard Drive fam, and y'all have
Thank
supported
you.
me a lot on the Hard Drive Instagram. So
Mhm.
I'm really grateful for everything, and I'm just grateful that you're here with us today.
Oh, good.
Everybody in the chat, um, if y'all have any questions from Mickey Shiloh, y'all feel free to chime in down below.
Come on
Also,
through.
you know, because I don't want to take up too much of her time today. I did enough of that trying to hear and double and
Um,
shit like that.
I'm glad
You
you
know what I
figured it
mean?
out though, right? You
Yeah,
got here
so
double in the
it was
morning.
embarrassing to tell you what it was, but
I'm done. I
but yeah,
love
if y'all
it.
got any questions to put in the chat, feel free to put those in there, drop them in there, and we can kind of go ahead and wrap up in just a few
Mhm.
minutes. So the Bull Bay, that's the homie from the Digilog fam. How did you survive the process of taking risks?
I woke up and breathed. I mean, it's not going to kill you unless you're taking physical risks.
Yeah.
Mental risks or nothing. I think you tend to just get better at it the more risks you take because you realize, the cliche is true, bigger risk, bigger reward, right? And also, I talked about this yesterday, I feel like, or earlier this morning, not avoiding failure because failure is quite literally such an instrumental part of the process. So once people understand that and they stop avoiding failure and they just keep going through the failure, that's where you find all those success pieces. Like there's no way around the failure. I mean, it's so cliche to say, but it's actually the truth. So how did I survive? I just did. You're good. I just survived. I mean, you breathe, you breathe through it, and you have your
For sure.
emotional breakdowns, and then you get through it because it's all just a part of the story. It's all just a part of
Nah,
the
that's
story.
that's for sure. Anyone
What's
else? I
next
don't see.
for me? Dwayne is asking what's next.
Okay.
What's
So
not?
what would you say is next for you?
Honestly, just a lot of software improvements and developments for hard drive. We're building some really cool stuff like creative cloud storage, a new placement portal. We're building, I can't say a streaming platform. It's not a streaming platform. It's
Okay.
private music hosting, which is going to be kind of monetized in some cool ways. So I'm excited about that.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. So a lot of like software stuff right now. And I'm non-technical, by the way. So if anyone out there has a cool software idea, don't feel like because you can't code that you can't do anything. Like we've completely built a custom coded fucking masterpiece without me knowing a lick of code. So, it just
Mm,
comes down to making mistakes along the way and finding the right partners. I've made my fair share of mistakes with the wrong developers before. So, yeah, software. What else? Doing a lot more speaking. I'm excited. Maybe speaking at South by next year,
okay.
and more podcasts, things like this. I just want to continue to learn and share and just continue elevating my own mindset. I'm doing a lot of reading, getting into like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Eckhart Tolle and who's another one I've been loving? Oh my God, Brene Brown. So a lot of mental work for sure.
Okay.
Because at the
Gotcha.
end of the day, our thoughts are things, and that's what we attract is whatever we're thinking about.
For sure. And before I get to the other question in the chat, I wanted to ask, um, with the advent of these different artists coming out and canceling like their tours and stuff like that right now, or canceling tour dates, some canceling entire tours. And they're coming out with a multitude of reasons. Some aren't selling well. Some are citing exhaustion and poor mental health. When you see this happen, what comes to mind for you? Because I know for you, you don't really perform that much yourself, right?
Mm-mm.
So, um, what comes to mind when you see this happening in the industry? Because I feel like for years, at least 10 years, everybody that I saw go on the Breakfast Club was like, the money's in touring, the money's in touring. But then it's like, dang, people are actually passing up the money. How is that happening?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, well, the ones passing up touring right now, I mean, I assume that they're set already. So they're like, it's not even worth this extra 2 million, to be honest. Like when you're at that level, it's like, I'd prefer keeping my sanity and finding other ways to kind of keep shit going.
Yeah,
What I think about when I see that is that it's just become a trend. Like if one person did it, oh, now it's okay for me to do it. It really sucks for the fans though, especially super last minute cancellations. Like I think that's really unfair. However, mental health is so important. And if that's genuinely the reason people are doing it, like I can't hold them for that. I hope that there are some new technologies that come out that allow more artists to do shit from the comfort of their own homes. And have more, virtual meet and greets. I know there's a
yeah,
lot of companies that are working on that and already are doing that. I hope it's adopted at a larger scale so that we don't have to keep canceling. I know it doesn't beat in real life, but
yeah.
shit, fucking Apple Pro Vision coming out next year or end of this year. I think that's gonna change the game too. Like I'm gonna have fucking Chris Brown sitting on my couch singing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's on the way. So I'm more so excited for that. I think that we're gonna see a lot more of virtual or augmented reality type experiences. Um,
Got you. That was okay. I
yeah,
I didn't know you were gonna come with that, but that makes a lot of
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Dope.
So
All right. Hector the Alchemist says, if you could revisit your past self, what would you let them know?
um that you're gonna return to sanity. Like I would go to my worst moments with my mental health and just say that it's temporary, you know? Because when you're in those deep dark moments, you feel like this is never gonna fucking end. When is it gonna end? When is it gonna end? So just to know that it does end and you return back to peace and joy when you work hard at, maybe removing triggers and treating yourself better and just being patient, that would have been nice. But now I know that. So whenever I get into a zone, I'm like, okay, this too shall pass. You
For
know?
sure.
Yeah, great question.
Absolutely. Well, I want to go ahead and just wrap up. So I want to thank you for your
Thank
time once
you.
again.
So
I
fun.
really appreciate you coming out. Hard Drive fam, much love to
Yeah.
y'all. Everybody that's in the chat, y'all showed out today.
Hell yeah.
If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I got
Hmm.
content coming for y'all every day, just about. I got some stuff coming right after this is over. So,
Hey,
make sure you stay, okay?
I love
And
it.
but again, Mickey Shiloh, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
If y'all have not joined Hard Drive, hey,
You get a month
got the
free
free
if
got
you
the
come
month
from
free coming
Jenkins.
for
Oh,
you.
man. You gotta hit
Exactly.
us
So
up.
make sure y'all take advantage of the opportunity, because if you don't,
Yeah,
you
just
missing out.
DM hard drive HRDRV on Instagram and we'll send you a code.
Absolutely. So, all
Awesome.
right, let's go ahead and sign out. Much love and respect,
Thanks,
y'all.
Jay.
Peace.
Bye.